Hey everyone, welcome to another lettuce garden scripting tutorial. This is actually the first video of a currency system series where we're going to go over how you can make a simple currency system with a currency UI. We're going to talk about how you can let people buy more currency in your game and award VIPs more money. We're also going to go over how to make a daily reward system, and then the last video in the playlist is going to be making an item shop where players can buy consumable items or persistent items that save with their data. So if you want to get all of those videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get them as soon as they come out. If you ever want the assets for our videos, check out the link in the description. And if you want help or you have any other Roblox questions, check out our Discord server, which is also in the description. Before we start, it's very important for us to consider what the purpose of the system is. So we want a currency system that stores players' money. We can add money to their account, we can remove money from their account, and also it's very important that other systems can communicate with our currency system. So to make a system that other systems can easily communicate with, we're going to make it all within a module script that other systems can require. So let's come up to server script service, and we're going to make a new module script. And let's name this currency service. And so let's go over what we just talked about. So we want a system where we can add money, remove money, and get the player's money. So let's just write out those functions. So currency service, add money. And for add money, what we're going to have is we're going to get a player and an amount of money. Let's make the next one here. Function, currency service, remove money. And we're going to also get a player and an amount of money. And then another function here, currency service, get money. And here we're just going to get the player. Okay, so we have laid out the blueprint for our system. Now, how do we actually track the money? And you guys might be familiar with something called the data store service in Roblox. So the data store service lets you store data that's attached to a player within your game. So when they come back over and over, the data saves. It's how you get persistent data between plays. And to make this easier for us, we're going to use a open source utility module called Data Store 2. So let me show you how to download that and get that into your project, and then we can continue. So go ahead and open up your web browser, and you can search here, Data Store 2 Roblox. And one of the first links you'll see is how to use Data Store 2 on the Roblox developer forum. And here, okay, so we have a lot of information on this page. I see here, where do I get it? It says you can download the latest version on the releases page. Okay, so let's click on the releases page. And okay, yeah, so here we have something called an RBXMX file. So this is a Roblox model file that we can put right into our game. So click on that link and it will download the file. And once the file is downloaded, I'm just going to move my browser off to the side. And we can just literally just drag and drop the file into Roblox from our web browser or from your folder. And we can then move that into server script service. So now that we have Data Store 2 in our game, let's come over to our module script here and let's rename it to currency service, just so that we can keep everything nice and organized. And okay, so let's write out the data store tracking. So first we need to import our Data Store 2 module. So let's make a few lines above our currency service. We have stored Data Store 2 inside server script service. So let's import server script service. Server script service equals game get service, server script service. And Data Store 2. Data Store 2 equals require server script service dot data store 2. And in order for us to access data stores, we have to provide what's called a key. So we can say data store key in equals money underscore 01. So all the money data in our game is going to be tied to this key called money 01. And we write 01 because if we want to reset the money data, this makes it really easy because we can just update O1 to O2 and then it's using the brand new key. So all the money data will get reset. And this can be useful during development if you want to reset data. Yeah, so we're going to keep it 0, 1 for now. And also with data store 2, we have something called combine. So we can write data store 2 dot combine data, and then we can put in our data store key. And this will become more important as you use more data store 2 keys within your experience. So what combine does is it takes all of the keys. So if we have, say, a shop system where players can buy items for their inventory, we can save their inventory data in a key as well. And it will take the money and inventory data and combine it into just one behind the scenes data store, which can help you save on API requests and whatnot. So this is a very nice optimization for a data system that Data Store 2 kindly provides for us. So make sure you write in combine here, because as we proceed through this playlist, we're going to be adding more to this Data Store 2 system. We also need a default starting amount of currency. So we can say like starting amount equals 100. And so players will start with 100 money. So first, let's write the get money. I think get money is the easiest one to start with. And also one of the other two methods here actually needs get money to work. So how do we get the player's money? Well, we can write here money store equals data store 2. And then we pass in our data store key. And we pass in the player. And what this does, it gives us an object that is basically an object that represents the player's data in the money context. So what we can do here is we can say local current money equals money store get, and then this will return the amount of money that the player currently has. Now, if the player has never played our game before and it's their first time, this won't exist. So what we also want to do in this get function is provide the starting amount of currency. So if for whatever reason they don't have any money, or maybe Roblox data stores are down or whatever, doing this, passing in the starting amount in our get, will make it so that the players always start with 100 coins in this case. And then here we can just return current amount, or current money, sorry. So now if any other system called this, we could get the amount of money a player has. And to remove money, it's actually a very similar system here. So let's just copy and paste this money store line because we need it. And then we can say local money amount equals self get money. And we can pass in the player. And the reason why we can do self is because we're using this colon syntax because we're referencing this as a singleton service is what it's called. So you can call self, and when we call self get money, it's actually calling this currency service get money. And then we can say here the new amount of currency will be money amount minus the amount. And in order to make sure that this number doesn't go into the negatives, like we don't want to have negative 10 money, we just want to stop at 0, we can say new amount equals math.max 0 new amount. And the math.max function will return whatever the highest amount of money is, or whatever the highest value provided is. So in this case, we give it 0 and new amount. So in an example here, if our values here were 0 and we had negative 100 coins, in this case, the max amount or the highest amount is 0. So if we have negative money, it will bring our money back up to 0. And if in another case, if it was 100 coins, then it would return 100 because that is the highest amount. So this just makes sure our money never goes negative. And then here, what we can do money store set, and then we can set that to new amount. Now add money is a very similar function as well. So we can do local money store, data store 2, we get the data key, get the player, and then we can say money amount equals self get money player. And then the new amount is just money amount plus amount. And then we can just set the money store to our new amount. And this is pretty much the base of our currency service done. We can get player money, we can remove money, and then we can add money. One last thing we want to do here before we come out of this is we also want to show the money in the player list in the top right of your screen. So when you play on a Roblox game, in the top right of your screen over here, you get like like a list of all the people in the game, and then we can also display people's money there. So let's make that system real quick. So at the bottom here, we want to make a function, local function, player added, and then we get the player. So in order to do this, we need to get the player's money store once again. So money store equals data store 2, pass in the data store key and the player. And then in order to make the value show up in the player list, we have to create something called leader stats. So local leader stats equals instance.new folder. And Roblox will only recognize this folder if we name it leader stats. So leader stats.name has to be leader stats with a lowercase, all the letters have to be lowercase. And then we can parent this to the player. And right now, it's just an empty folder with named leader stats. Nothing's going to show up. We need to actually add like a money value to this folder. So here we can do local money value, instance.new number value, money value dot name equals money. And then we can parent it to the leader stats. So if we test the game, right now this would just say 0 because the default value for number values are 0. We want to actually update this with our player's currency. So how do we do that? We can make a local function here, local function on update, and this will give us the new value. And then we can do here money value dot value equals the new value. And how do we call this on update function here? Well, when the money store changes, so money store on update, we want to call on update. So every time the money store updates, we want to call on update. And also when the game first starts, we want to call this. So we're just going to call this right away when the game starts, and then we can do currency service, get money player. And the reason why we have to do currency service here is because this isn't part of our currency service object or singleton. This is a separate function beneath. So if we want to reference our currency service, we have to call currency service. We can't do self here. So real quick, we create a leader stats value. We name it and parent it to the player. We create a money value, name it and parent to leader stats. And then this on update function gets called every time our money store updates, and also when the game first starts. And in order to actually call this player added, we can do players. Well, we have to import players. So at the top of your script, local players equals game get service players. And then down here, we can do players.player added, connect, player added. And also, we want to make sure that if this script, for whatever reason, runs after a player has joined the game, we also want to loop through all the players. So we want to loop through all players. So get players. And we want to call player added on these players. Okay, so let's run the game right now and see what happens. Okay, that's interesting, right? We're not seeing anything in our leader stats, and we're not seeing anything in the output. And that's because we have never loaded our module. So module scripts are a special type of script that don't run automatically unless another script actually needs them there. So what we want to do is we want to create another script, and we're going to call this script currency loader. And the only thing that this script does is it's going to require script.parent.currency service. And we can do script.parent because it's within server script service, and currency service obviously is there. And because this currency loader is requiring our currency service, now our currency service will run. So let's come back into test mode and see what happens. So we're getting some errors here saying studio access to API is not allowed. So Roblox has a security method, or I guess it's almost like a convenience method as well, where if you're within Studio, it kind of restricts your access to data stores so you don't accidentally update some live data in your game or something. However, because we're in a development environment here and we need to test this out, we can come up to our game settings, click on security, and then you can click enable Studio access to API services. And once you save that, you have to give it a couple seconds to actually update. If you test too quickly, you'll just get the same error again. So we'll wait a couple seconds. And now we've basically told Roblox, hey, it's okay. I want to access these data stores. Please let me. And if we play now, okay, so we don't get any errors and we see our money in the top right of the screen in the leaderboard. So that's exactly what we wanted. So just to finish off this video, we're also going to add in a currency UI. So in our starter GUI here, let's make a new screen GUI. And we're going to make a new frame. And I'm just going to move this frame to the right-hand side of my screen. So I'm going to set the anchor point to be 1, 0 and the position to be 1, 0, 0, 0. And the anchor point basically just means where on our frame do we want the reference point to be. So actually, let me just move this out here for a sec. So right now, my anchor point is 1, 0. And you can see this black square. It's around the top right corner. So this is saying, so if it was 0, 0, it would be the top left corner. And this is like the reference point where the position is set to. So when I set the position, in this case, it's just some random numbers because I moved it. It moves this top left corner to that spot. But if I set it to 1, 0, it moves the top right corner to that spot. And if I do something like 0.5, it moves the middle. But in this case, we want to do 1, 0 because we want the top right corner to be there. And like I said, so maybe move it to like 0.998 maybe, and 0.5-ish, maybe 0.4. 0.5 is a bit low, I think. And then we can just set some random size here, something that looks good. And it's a bit too tall. Yeah, that looks like a pretty decent currency preview size. And we can add in a corner just to give it a little bit of a rounded look. And we're going to set the corner to 0.10. And then we can add in a UI stroke as well. And okay, so these colors are kind of off. So let's change the colors. I want my currency UI to be, I don't know, maybe like a green background, dark green background with a white stroke. And maybe like a thickness of 2. That looks kind of weird. Maybe like a black background or black stroke. Yeah, that looks better. And then we'll add in a text label. And then for this text label, we'll just make it so that there is no background color. Set the size to 1 so that it takes up the whole space. And then we'll also enable text scaled and make the text color white. And here we can just add in some random value like, I don't know, like 20. This is what our currency would look like in our game. So we want to actually attach this UI now to our currency servers. So let's just name our UI real quick here to currency UI and add in a new script. And then we'll set the run context of this script to be client. And we'll name this currency UI script. And so here, let's make a few variables. So local UI equals script.parent. Local frame equals UI wait for child frame, because we have a frame within our UI that we want to access. And actually, let's rename this text label to be something like money amount so that it's more descriptive. Then here we can say local money amount equals frame wait for child money amount. And okay, so how do we actually update our text now? So we can do local function update money. And then we can do, we'll pass in the value here. Then we can do money amount dot text equals equals value. And how do we call update money? Well, first we want to get the leader stat value. So local leader stats equals players. Okay, we'll have to get the players. So local players equals game get service players. And then we can access the local player. And we want to wait for child leader stats. And then the local money value here is leader stats, wait for child money value. Is that what we named it? Let's check. So we can come up to our currency service. Okay, so here we can see that we named it money. So what we actually want to do is wait for money. And then here we can do money value dot changed connect function. Actually, no, we don't need the function here. We can just directly call update money. And let's actually move this up here above our function. And rather than getting the value here, actually what we can do is just money value dot value. And then that lets us just immediately call update money once the game starts, and our money value will update. So here we're just declaring some variables. We're getting the leader stats value that we parent to our player, and then the money value. And then every time the money value changes, we update the text. And also when the game first starts, we'll update the text. So let's play our game here. And yeah, so we can see that our money here says 100, just like our leader stats. And if we go up here and manually change our money, now it's important to note here, updating our money in this folder is all client side. It doesn't affect anything on the server. Like, this isn't a way for exploiters to hack, but our systems are listening to this value. So if we click money and change it to 50, we'll see that both of these numbers change immediately. I just want to reiterate, changing the number here doesn't actually update your money. You have to update it from the server using our currency service so that the data store gets updated, because that's our source of truth. Updating it this way just updates our visuals, but doesn't actually change how much money the server knows that you have. And we'll see why that becomes important in one of the later videos in this playlist, but just keep that in mind. So that's how you can make a quick, simple currency system for your game with a currency UI and the leader stats values. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is a playlist series where we're going to now make a couple of systems that use this currency system. And so I look forward to helping you out with those videos. If you want the assets for this video, make sure you check out the link in the description. If you want help with anything Roblox related, check out our Discord server. And if you have any other comments, just leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see. And if you don't like it, please dislike and leave a comment on what I can improve on. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.